How you doing, Cowboy fans? This is B-Bird Cowboys. It's a great time to be a Cowboy fan. How y'all doing, Cowboy fans? This is B-Bird Cowboys coming on. Just got through listening to Jerry, Shotty, Steven, and Will McClay on the pre-draft press conference. And it was some interesting things I heard in there. A lot of it is just, coach talk, GM talk or whatever. But I was going to cover a few things that I saw or heard. And just kind of go over it with you. That's my thoughts on it. For one thing, I think it's a good thing. Jerry said that they asked him about injured players in the draft and how does his mindset have changed on that. And he said that they're kind of shying away from injured players. And I do agree with that. I think before the Cowboys and Jerry, because of the structure of our team, Jerry can take chances on, Jalen Smiths and, other injured players that other GMs can't take chances on. So he took those chances. LBE, we talking about a middle linebacker with a neck injury. So we've had several players that have had injuries that we was like, go give them a red shirt year. And Jerry spoke specifically about that term, red shirt year. He actually said that. He said, we've given guys, drafted them, given them red shirt years. Really, if you think about it, other GMs can't stand to do that, at least not in the first or second round, I think he did kind of spoke of Revel when he was talking about that, because he said that, we drafted players and then they come back, week 6 or week 7, that's when they were projected. But it's very hard for a rookie to come in the middle of the year without camp and all those other things that, perform like that. So I think the expectations on Rebel, which I've always said with Rebel, what we should have done with him is just redshirt him last year. Sometimes you can do more harm than good, and not just physically, but psychologically, by putting the guy out there before he's ready to go. So I definitely agree with that. We need guys, especially my whole thing this year and next year, man, is going to be this DAC window. I mean, we have a Pro Bowl, pretty much all pro level quarterback. I think we should be doing everything to get guys in here that can play day one, whether that's the draft or that's free agency or trade or whatever it is. We should be getting guys in here that's going to make an impact in 2026, not 2027, 2028. We don't have time for that. So I definitely like that they're kind of going to shy away from injured players. Someone asked the question, are you leaning to have, another pick on Friday or a pick on Friday, which, the question was really asking would they trade a third round pick. And they said that they really like more picks, right? Like, so I don't think that they're going to do that unless somebody just, blew them out the water on a trade proposal or whatever. They did ask the question, will they take offense? And Jerry said, yeah, they would take an offensive player, which, it's certain type of offensive players I would take. If we take a wide receiver, pretty much I'm of the mind, if you take a wide receiver, to me, you got to trade Pickens at that point in time. There's no sense of keeping him around. You can get value for him. And if you get a wide receiver in the first round, Pickett's not in your future. So there's no sense of holding on to him. If you're going to get somebody that high, the Tyson kid, you might as well get what you can for Pickens, especially off a year that he's had. His value is probably not going to be higher than what it is now with his age and how he performed last year. So if you're going to do that, then I think you're going to be moving on from Pickens. They asked Steven. Steven answered this question. I don't know what this was his answer. They said about moving up and moving back. He was really passionate when he said he can improve by moving back. You can get more players that way. And as I said before, y'all, that's why they have not moved up in a draft since in the first round since 2012 and Maurice Claiborne. And I don't see them doing that because the Jones like the cheap labor. So you can get two players under a rookie contract. They like the cheap labor more than they like the production. And so they really theoretically, man, if they had their druthers, they trade all their picks and go to the fifth round and just pick all fifth round, the 20, 30, fifth round. That's what they love. But they can't get away with that. But yeah, so he was excited when he said about moving back. So and another question they asked was uh, how do they manage their mock drafts? And it's interesting to me that Will McClay answered that question. I mean, he stepped in and answered that question. Whereas, the GM really ought to be in there answering that question. We call Will the pseudo, GM. And so, but I just kind of noticed that the Joneses didn't really answer that question about the mock draft. I think Stephen did chime in on it later. But so anyway, that was kind of it on the draft. I did not on the draft. I'm sorry, that's just it on that part because they did get to the Pickens question, and they did. Now I knew this was going to happen too. That Pickens is going to play on the tag. At least that's what they're saying. We don't know what Pickens' side is, but that's what the Cowboy side is. I have a thing here too, and I really want people to understand this. When you play on the tag, the $27 million actually counts $27 million against your salary cap. Well, it's 27 or something. And that really, as a GM, if I'm a GM of say the Raiders, I don't want a player that's going to hit $27 million on my tag because what that is doing is not allowing me to go and sign other players because this guy's $27 million cap hit. So let's just take, for instance, Will Anderson signed a contract the other day, which I kind of juxtaposed that against Houston's handling of Will Anderson Jr.'s contract versus Cowboys handling of Michael Parsons' contract. But Will Anderson Jr. is only going to cost, I think, $11 or $12 million against the cap next year. And that's just the way they did it. They came early. They signed him. No throwing nobody, no mudslinging, no back and forth and all that kind of stuff. It was cordial, integrity. The guy felt respected, and it was done the right way, man. But what the essence of what I was saying is that they can move his cap numbers around now because he has a contract. But with Pickens, it's 27 million, man. And if you go look at it, I did do this research that the Cowboys lead the league in franchise tags over the last 15 or so years. We use that franchise tag, and I'm talking about not to negotiate, but we use the tag on players to actually pay them throughout the year on it. I think we used it on Dak once, and then we had him on another one, but I think they signed the contract prior to. DeMarcus Lawrence, I think, played on it. We know Schultz played on it. Our running back played on it. We had a lot of guys that play on it, and I don't believe that a GM that's fighting for his job would have a guy playing costing $27 million when actually you can sign him to a contract and make that like $13 million cap hit and go get players. But the Cowboys had the luxury of doing that, right? Because again, as we said on OG Cowboy Show, they can't lose their job. So I want y'all to remember that in all moves they make or lack thereof, that they can't lose their jobs, man. Another thing, they asked a question about learnings through the draft process. And Will McClay said that there are always, things they made mistakes on, they're trying to fix, and things they did well, they want to keep doing it and continue to find other things they do well. That's all in good. But I would say this. My thought process is that in the life cycle of a GM, he probably got about 5 to 7 years, unless he's very successful, then he's going to be there. But in those 5 or 7 years, and then he leaves, you're going to get a new person in that didn't make those mistakes, right? He's going to have a fresh view of it. So I would tell you that the reason why we don't sign high price free agents is because of Brandon Carr in 2012. Um, I would they just didn't like that, didn't like the way it went. They don't feel like they got value for it, so they haven't done it since. I would say the reason they don't trade up, they haven't traded up since 2012 either. It's because of Morris Claiborne. See what it is they still have those wounds from those. But if a new GM came in, say it was 2019 or 2018, he wouldn't have those wounds. So he'll be like, "Nah, man, we gotta go into free agency." But we still got the same guys that were here when those acquisitions were made. So they still felt like those didn't pan out right. So we're gonna leave that alone. You can't do that. And that's what I'm telling you about the structure of this front office. So and one thing that Steven said was he said they was talking about, they asked a question about the injured players, and they said, "Hey, are the injured players, how are they doing?" I think Clarence asked that question. So when they're doing real good, we got to actually have them to slow down. Say easy, be going too hard. We want to slow down, not try to rush the process. And but Stephen Jones chimed in and said all the injured players are here, and that's very important, which is a dig at Diggs, to be totally honest with you, because these guys carry things, man. They carry things. They take things personal, and I think too, as a GM, you can't be taking things personal, man. It's got to be business only. That's why you go look at Will Anderson Jr.'s contract. It was high. It was just business, man. It was a GM sat down with an agent, and before that, the agent sat down with his player to see what he wanted and what his vision was, and they melded those two things together. Then they went into the GM's negotiation with those things in mind. The GM understood how important this guy is for this team, and said, "No, we're going to make this. We're just going to go and do it." They did it quietly. It came out, had the press conference and everything, and that's just the way you handle things, man. And so we got to watch the way we handle stuff like that. And my thing has been this offseason too is that not only do Jerry have to watch how they handle things, we as fans got to watch how we condone their handling of things. We have a portion of this fan base that they don't really like the players. For one reason or another, they don't like the players. They don't like you run across these people that think that, oh, these guys make too much money. They never say about what the owners are making because they don't care. And so a lot of times there's some jealousy, some other things involved in that too. But we really got to watch that, because Jerry and Steven couldn't do what they do unless they had the blessing of the fan base. And they get media reports about which way somebody's leaning or whatever. And the fan base is leaning. And if they're saying that if it's 50-50 on like, oh, let Michael go, Jerry's going to go hard. But if it's 95%, no, Jerry, you're in the wrong, he's going to back down. You know what I'm saying? So, but we have to be unified as a fan base on what we need. And that's good players, man. They did talk about getting a veteran player via trade, which let me just tell you, if you really think back to it, we've gotten way more players via the trade than we have free agency. I mean, just think this year, maybe one of our most significant acquisition was a trade with Rashawn Gary. And I'm not saying that because I think he's just an average player, but I'm just saying it's one of our most, name brand players that we got. And then you go back and look at Quinnen, and then you go look at Clark. We've had him before that, Amari. We've made a lot of acquisitions, man. Pickens. We made a lot of acquisitions as far as trades. So look out for the trade. I kind of picked this trend up about 3 or 4 years ago. I did tweet it out and just said, hey, we get way more players via trades. The reason why we do that, in my opinion, is because the contract is already in place. So there's no bargaining or negotiating and having to beat out somebody else for it. It's just that contract is just giving up the draft capital or the player to get it. And so we do a lot of trading for good players. That's one thing I do like them doing, because I think really at this time, it's Dak Prescott's window. I got a 2 or 3 window for Dak Prescott to win this thing. To me as a GM, I was getting all the best players I could on this team. I'm not saying forget the draft. I'm just saying that if I have an opportunity to get a 28, 27, 28, 29-year-old proven player, I get that. Like to help me on my team. If it's a linebacker, I get that. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that this is the time to go for it. And this offseason has been kind of business as usual. We got the Rashawn Gary trade during the free agency, which it mixed into it. And it act like, and most people think, oh, we signed him. No, it's a trade. And, we got the safety. But the thing is, man, a lot of people are pointing to CP as our biggest offseason acquisition. The thing with that is, and I've on OG podcast, I said this. I said there's no law that says that you don't have to give a good defensive coordinator. We don't even know if he's good, right? Good players. They always are better with good players. We can't be like coach him up, coach this guy up, coach that guy up. At some point in time, man, we got to get this guy some players. I think I was asking the OGs, say, hey man, when was the last time we had the best roster? And they went back to the 90s. And I said, okay, when was the last time we had the best coaches? They went back to the 90s. I said, you notice how anytime you get the best coaches and the best roster, now you start winning. Players run this league, man. You got to get good players. And that's just all it is to it. We tried this number 2 wide receiver position for a while, and then we get Pickens, who's a great athlete, great player, was just in a bad system with a bad quarterback, comes over here and does well. Is that shoddy? No, that's not shoddy, man. That's Pickens is just a great player. He's going to be great anywhere he goes, and that has a quarterback. So, and he did well in Pittsburgh under what they had out there at quarterback. And so I definitely think that we need to get proven players right now. I would love a proven edge. As I said before, if we get a proven edge, a double-digit sack guy, makes the Rashawn Gary acquisition look even better. So I don't know, the press conference, it was kind of more business as usual. Not a lot came out of it, but just kind of, coach speak, GM speak. I still think that, I think we have a pipe dream of them moving up in the draft. If they do it, I would be surprised and I would love it because I think this is kind of a weak draft. So I think all the players that you're going to get in this draft are going to be the top guys, maybe 6 on up. And it's going to start being it's always start being a crapshoot in the draft, but this one is going to be more of a crapshoot earlier, right? Like 18th pick or, even maybe the 12th pick. We don't know where we're going to get there. So I just think quality players, when we're in this DAC window, is the best thing. One of the things I want to say before I leave is this. Cowboys, we have been spoiled. For 20 years, we've had Pro Bowl quarterback play, all pro quarterback level play with Tony Romo and Dak Prescott. So if we allow them to go business as usual and not, get the best players that they can on this team, then Dak is going to be either moved on to another team out of his prime or retired or whatever. He just won't be on his team anymore. But now, did you trust this front office to go find another Dak Prescott or another Tony Romo? Hey, we lucked into those 2 guys. I've always said that for one fourth round draft pick, we got Tony Romo and we got Dak Prescott. That's crazy. To be able to start a team like that with that quarterback for that less of a value, and I know they made more later on, but for us not to be at least in the NFC Championship game is criminal. So, but we don't know when we're going to get those guys back. You can look at Chicago has been going on forever trying to find a quarterback. Cleveland Browns has been going on. The Browns have been going on forever trying to find a quarterback. They still have not found one. And so these things aren't easy to do, man. And we've taken it for granted that we just go find another guy. That just doesn't happen like that, man. So we've been very blessed at the quarterback position. But and I think Dak is in his prime right now. Before he leaves, man, I would love to just load the clip. Let's go get all the guys we can and go for it, man. So anyway, I just want to touch bases with the fan base a little bit. I don't stream by myself often. I have work, other family things, but hopefully try to do more. And so tomorrow we're going to have a draft show. It's going to be me, Cowboy Joe, me, Cowboy Joe, and Jules from Fastcast Cowboys, and my son Bryce Burwell will be checking in from PVA&M University. So we're going to be talking a draft. We're going to kick off at 7 o'clock. And we're going to be just talking all the way through the Cowboys pick at least. Just talking about the picks that's already happened, what it looks like for us, what kind of moves we can make, who's left after, the first 6 picks, and all those kind of things, man. But it's going to be actually father and son and father and son. So it's going to be unique. So y'all check in with us tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. The time the draft picks kicks off, we'll be kicking off here. And if y'all don't catch us live, because there's going to be a lot of people on live, y'all don't catch us live, always come back on the replay, man, and just see it, man. We're going to see how we do, what kind of chemistry we have together, which I know it's going to be good because we're all looking for 6. But anyway, that's it from me. I appreciate whoever comes in and listen to this. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Cowboys out. How you doing, Cowboy fans? This is B-Bird Cowboys. It's a great time to be a Cowboy fan.